everybody, and welcome to Energetic Principles Report for the full moon in Capricorn. My name is Melissa LaFara, and today we are going to be discussing what to expect during this full moon period, what the Sabian symbol assigned to this degree of the moon means, the suggested meditation for release during this lunation, and also what the tarot has to say. So let's get started.
May the stars be with you.
All right, everybody, let's talk about this full moon in Capricorn and what we're to expect. Well, the full moon is going to be happening on Saturday, July 8th at 9:07 p.m. Pacific time, which will be Sunday at 4:07 a.m. Universal time and 2 p.m. Aussie time. So what can we expect with this full moon in Capricorn and while our sun is in Cancer? Well, let me tell you, I actually live this on a day-to-day basis. This is my moon. I was born on a full moon in Capricorn, and I am a Cancer. And my birthday is actually the day after this full moon. So it's almost like recreating the scenario of which I was born under. So I'm very excited to speak to you about it today because I can personally relate. So let's talk about this moon and what to expect. So it's going to be at 17 degrees and 9 minutes Capricorn. And it's going to be, a pretty heavy moon because it's conjunct Pluto, who's currently in Capricorn, I believe at 18 degrees. So it's right up in there, and it's fusing that Plutonian energy to this full moon. And full moons are already intense, so to put a Pluto in on the mix, that's just intensity to the nth degree. So you can expect this moon to be the ultimate release moon. That's the way I look at it, because the full moon is a time when we are able to, our emotions come to this apex of sorts, and all we can do is really learn from it and then release what no longer works, and then take with us what does and push through for the rest of the cycle. So having that Pluto energy there is really challenging us to let go, to not only release in our normal full moon cycle, but to release not only just this full moon, but just all types of energy that has been stagnant within us that we can now let go of at this time. The moon is actually going to be also squaring in a loose square with Jupiter in Libra. So there is that energy at play too, where there's a lot of what's fair and what's balanced, and how we relate with others and how we relate to ourselves. And, the moon is really highlighting how we operate within ourselves and how we operate with others, and what control mechanisms are at place. Because Capricorn doesn't always get the best rap as a moon, I'm gonna have to say. And I understand why, living with it internally, is because we can kind of go cold in certain moments. And having that Cancer sun, and me being born at this axis, we don't always go cold right away because that Cancer energy is there. But for someone who has a Capricorn moon and has the sun in other places, some people might think you're a little cold and calculating, or maybe you're not as warm as others would like. But that's just how we are. And, you get to... There's a deep heart down in there, so be patient with any Capricorn moons down there, because they might not show it at first, but their loyalty and their duty to you is of the utmost supreme. So just know that. But let's get back to this full moon and what it's going to, what energy it's going to bring into the air. And that it is an Earth moon. So I like to think of this full moon, and any full moon that's in an Earth sign, to be a little more stabilizing, because, Earth is a more grounded energy, and it's something that is, what we manifest on the physical realm. And it's all why Capricorn is very interested in its goals and ambitions. What can I achieve of physical, in this physical world? What can I have to show for these things that I put myself in? So there's that element here where we're really trying to ground ourselves in what it is that we've manifested, and to get in line with what it is that we're trying to achieve and what goals and ambitions are on our plate. And chances are this full moon is really going to highlight our emotional, yearning for where it is we're trying to go. So that being said, if you have these goals and ambitions in your life, the next thing you have to look at is, where can you take control? And also, where can you release control? Because Capricorn is in any earth energy, likes to have control. How can I manipulate this so that am in control of this and it doesn't have me, So that being said, this full moon really is highlighting, areas of your life that you might need to relinquish control. If you've tried something over and over and over again, and you've tried to like do this and do that to like get to your your desired outcome, and it's not working, let go of control. You've done your best. You've tried. That goal might not be for you, or you just might be approaching it the wrong way. Now, however, if you haven't taken control in your life in certain areas regarding your goals and ambitions or what it is you're trying to, manifest, then now's the time to really like step into your power and be like, wait, I got this. I can do this. I've got control, like drive that bus. So it's energy of twofold, I don't want to say like release all control of, or trying to take control, because that's not the case. We have to take control in our lives. It's more about recognizing where we have control and where we don't have control. And that's what we're manifesting in the energy that's brewing during this full moon, is really getting us in touch with isolating the two, one from the other. It's not just all one big thing. You gotta separate it. I have a lot of action today outside my window. Here goes a chopper. So we'll just wait for the chopper to go by, and then we're going to talk about the emotional maturity that's surrounded around Capricorn, and really asking you to hone in your emotions enough to be mature about what it is that you're trying to do. And that's why Capricorn can get a little bit of the, like they're a little colder or this, that, and the other. But sometimes they just have mature emotions and they're not going to like release them right away, But at the same time, they try to control them. So here's that control mechanism back in there. So you figure that out. But the utmost highest ability of that Capricorn moon is to have emotional maturity, and to be able to use your emotions at the right time, and know when, we can't always fight them, but we should have the maturity enough to know what the right emotional response to a situation will be. So that being said, there's also an element that Capricorn kind of ties in, and why it's represented by the Devil card in tarot, is that it has these controlling mechanisms and the right use of power, but it also has this kind of fear and negativity that might kind of circulate around it, and especially when it comes to emotions. And the moon is already an emotional creature to begin with, that focuses on the unconscious and what fears and negativity might be underneath the base on which we stand upon. So here again, we're talking about this release mechanism, and releasing something to the moon. And this is a perfect time to really get in touch with any type of fear or negativity that might be in your life, that you're emotionally centered around. And it might have been building in the last couple weeks with all these Pluto transits. This isn't our first Pluto rodeo. We've had Mercury oppose it, we've had Mars oppose it, we have Sun oppose it, and we're about to after this full moon. So this is a Pluto journey that we're all on, and this moon is really apexing that for us. So get in touch with any type of fear or negativity you might have at this time, and really release it, and know that your success is really tied up in your own inner authority. Because that's another thing about Capricorn, is the ability to take authority over something. And that's why you see Capricorns as the boss or the CEO a lot of times, because they get down to business. It's they step into that authority role and are able to run with it. So that being said, let's think about our own inner authority and how we can step into our own power and really embrace the control we have over our own lives, and to get, with Pluto there, to be emotionally honest with ourselves of what it is we're trying to do and manifest, and where we want to take authority, and where we should leave our controlling mechanisms out of it. Because Pluto asks for honesty, and this full moon is going to be asking that of you. Just to touch one more thing here, because this is a very transformative full moon with Pluto there. This is a chance to let go. So let's take that chance. Let's really, embrace it the best that we can, because we can finally break free from some old habits and release certain things in our life, and obsessive compulsive things that take us over. Like, this is a time to really wrap ourselves around that emotionally, and how we can release day-to-day habits that really no longer work for us, that either take our power away from us, create fear or negativity in our lives, allow us to be less than mature in our dealings with others, and like, step away from all those old processes that no longer work, that don't allow us to manifest to our fullest potential. This is the time that we can really break free of those old habits, and get in touch with what it is that we want to go after in life. So let's use this stabilizing earth energy to really make change in our life. And although it might be trying or frustrating or something you're not used to, or just intense, don't shy away from it. Use this time because it is very valuable. Okay, so let's talk about the Sabian Symbol degree for this full moon in Capricorn. And as we've discussed in previous videos, how you find a Sabian symbol is you're going to take the degree in the minutes and round up. So we have 18 degrees Capricorn. So what Rudyard says about 18 degrees Capricorn, he paints this picture. The Union Jack flag flies from a British warship. The Union Jack flag flies from a British warship. Well, what does that mean? Well, he talks about the keynote of the protection afforded to individuals and groups by powerful institutions in charge of maintaining order. Well, that sounds good. We have someone out there policing what it is that we need, and they're put in that position based on, trying to maintain peace and order. But there's also that flip side of something. There's always duality in life. There's always two sides. No matter what side you're on, there's always another side that opposes that, and that's what creates the whole. And that's why we have the opposition, is we are, we understand what something is more because of the opposition to it. So yeah, we have this power out there that's patrolling for peaceful interests, sure. But there's also the misuse of power when we have these systems that are in place for so long. Sometimes we end up preserving an old way of power in life that no longer suits what's necessary. And so, there's like this control that is no longer meant to be in place. So yeah, having the seas patrolled by that British flag sounds great, as long as the British flag is on the right side of what it is that the people are really, asking for to be policed. So here we have this duality of political power, and us being able to realize its values and also its dangers. Because sometimes we see what it's good, but then sometimes we become ambivalent to it because we're so used to what power structures and authorities put into place. But how did they get there in the first place? And is that even valid anymore? So I think that the Sabian symbol, especially in the public arena, is really bringing that issue of authority and who really deserves authority at this point. And if our old mechanisms of authority, especially on this is a political degree, if that's not working any longer, then we have to step in a place of justice and compassion around it, because that's really what balances power, social power at least. And I see a lot of imbalance in the world with that right now. And here we have that Jupiter and Libra squaring everything. So this is a very interesting keynote to keep in mind, and a Sabian symbol to think about here, because if you've watched any of these videos, you realize that how many symbols I've talked about, I've been painting this social picture one after another, because new moons and full moons are a very powerful time, not only for the individual, but for the collective. So if you're curious at all, go back and watch any of these. I have them all time ticked on the video, so you can just go straight to the Sabian symbol itself. But I find the picture unfolding is actually rather fascinating. So that being said, yeah, how can we, really analyze the political power that's out there and the power of the institutions, and whether or not that's serving us or hurting us at this time? All right, everybody, I wanted to share a full moon meditation with you because, you can look at it as a meditation, and it's not like going in and it's more about kind of an analytical meditation in a sense. So you know, this is a very powerful time to get your crystals out there. If you're a crystal lover like me and want to charge, you know, your crystals, put them out in the full moon, because this is going to be a powerful one that can really charge them up and set them with great intention, especially releasing intention, since this is a Pluto full moon. But the meditation I have in place is actually, once again, writing a list, you know, because here we have this Earth moon, and sometimes it needs to get it down on something you can see, like get all what's in here manifested on an actual piece of paper or something you can tangibly touch or see, and then you understand it that much more. So the meditation I have for you is to write a list where you're honest with yourself about areas in your life that are outside of you that you're trying to control, like your husband or your job situation, your manager, your politics, you know, your children, etc. And so to really, you know, recognize what it is that you're trying to take control of that really is, in all honesty, you have no place in controlling it. And then I would write a separate list around your goals and ambitions and what it is that you actually can do, you know, where you have control in your life and the things that you want to do that you can take control of yourself every day, you know, because Capricorn's about self-control, and really put your energy into manifesting something in your life that you have power over. So with those two lists, what I would do is I would burn the first one and release it to the moon and let go of control in that area. And then I would keep the second one, because that's the power that's going to carry us forward and what energy we're going to get from this full moon. So burn that first list, and I have an affirmation for you that you can say during this process. I would say, I release the need to control the outcome of situations outside of me. I use my power to focus on my own goals and progress. Once you step into your own power and release what it is that you know that you don't have control over, not only are you going to feel that sense of relief, it's not defeat, it's relief. So release that energy to the full moon and let go of control in areas of your life that you just don't need to control, and then step into the areas where you have power. All right, everybody, let's see what the tarot has to say about this full moon in Capricorn. Okay, so we have the Nine of Pentacles as our focus card and the King of Swords as our grounding. So what is it? What does it all mean? Well, the Nine of Pentacles there, and the Pentacles is the Earth suit and manifesting things here on the physical earthly realm. And the Nine of Pentacles really is kind of a completion of sorts. Not, you know, just apexing itself to where you can stand independently in your own ability to manifest and create things in your life, but also to be able to find the gratitude and you know, being okay with what it is you have, and you know, if you have just enough, it's enough, you know, and feeling really solid in what it is that you've built on this earthly realm, you know, because Capricorn tends to get a little you know, it can get emotional if it doesn't feel it's building enough, or it's going fast enough, or you've got enough recognition in this world, and people have noticed you for what you've brought to this planet. So I love the Father or King of Swords there because we've had so much makeover of our minds in the last couple weeks. We've had Mercury transits up the wazoo, you know, it's opposed Pluto, it's conjunct the Sun, conjunct Mars, it's squared, you know, it's going to square Uranus, squaring Jupiter. Like, our minds and how we think have been getting quite the makeover in the last couple of weeks, and we're being asked to look at new perspectives. So I love the Father of Swords here because it's maturity around the mind. It's maturity to be able to logically look at something and, you know what's needed for your own self-direction, in a sense, you know, paired with this Nine of Pentacles. You can look at something objectively and what it is you're trying to manifest, and then have the own authority and independence and power to be able to go after what it is that you want. Especially with that Father of Swords energy, our mind is just about on board with what it is we want, and now it is time to manifest that, because really we might not have been manifesting what we want to, because it's an issue of our mind and mastering our own mind power to get us on the right track to what it is we're trying to create. This is also a time, with the swords there, being able to share what it is that we want independently with other people, not separate. Like God stay on. It's more like I want this for myself, and I want to tell you about it, kind of thing. So we've gotten to a stable place in a sense, to where our mind is really on board with our ambitions and the garden we're trying to grow, in a sense. And that's why I think this moon is so powerful, and it's not something to be feared, because if anything, it's going to be getting us on our right track, and our minds on the right track around what it is that we're trying to manifest, and really put our energy and our power into. So I think those are beautiful cards for this full moon in Capricorn. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I am very grateful that you've stopped by. And if you want to find out more about me and where you can find me on energeticprinciples.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Energetic Principles. And I do daily pictures of IG advice related to the transits and the moon placements, and just try to give you some, practical advice to carry your days out with, so you have food for thought every day. I also do a podcast with Shauna McGrath of Neo-Feminine Astrology, which is called The Feminine Principle, Astrology for Authentic Living. And you can find that on Podbean or iTunes. And we just started a YouTube channel with those recordings as well, if you'd like to check it out. And really the best thing I could ask, if you like what you see today, is really just share it with a friend. Tell someone else about what you've seen here today, and just spread the good word, because really that's the most gratitude you can give to me would be to share what it is that I'm sharing with you. And for that, I thank you. So I hope everybody has a wonderful full moon in Capricorn, and you understand the energy I live every day. So I'm really looking forward to it and excited to see what this year brings me, since it'll be on my birthday time. So thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, may the stars be with you.